Thank you very much for being here. My name is Representative Randy Grau. I chair the House Judiciary and Civil Procedure Committee. And we had a meeting on Tuesday, February 16th, 2016. We heard 8 bills. We had 10 on the agenda, 2 of which were laid over. And all of them passed unanimously except for one, which passed on a vote of 7-1, and that was House Bill 2397. That was authored by Representative Travis Dunlap, so I'll let him talk about that bill. One of the other ones that passed was House Bill 2399 by Representative Biggs, and it has to do with the jurisdictional requirement for emergency ex parte orders, and essentially would require that the final protective order would actually have to be heard in the county where a divorce proceeding was actually filed. The emergency ones could be in any county where it was appropriate, but the final one would have to be in that originating county. House Bill 3106 by Representative Chad Caldwell passed by an 8-0 vote. That actually modifies the terms of some of the workers' compensation judges that are part of the Court of Existing Claims. Again, there's a huge backlog, and so in order to deal with those, it's necessary to expand the terms of 2 of the judges that would expire within the next year. And so that does have a fiscal impact. 2-year expansion of time, and so again that would be about $1.5 million for those two judges on that Court of Existing Claims. House Bill 2393 by Representative Shearer passed on a vote of 8-0. That has to do with the sale of real estate that is owned by a ward, and it would not be necessary under this legislation to proceed with what is kind of a costly and a very inefficient judicial procedure if the heirs of the ward do consent to the sale of that real estate. House Bill 2670 by Representative Corey Williams from Stillwater passed on a vote of 8-0, and that has to do with the payment of attorney's fees in asset forfeiture cases. Again, there's been a lot of discussion about civil asset forfeiture, and this would just make sure that in the situation where the person who had their property taken is successful to a certain extent, then they would be able to recover their attorney fees for the recovery of that property. And then finally, a bill that I've actually worked on is House Bill 1039 by Representative Loring, which passed on a vote to 7-0, and that would enact the Oklahoma Benefit Corporation Act. I actually filed legislation last year as a House author, and it originated in the Senate, that would set up a General Benefit Corporation Act. These are essentially corporations that serve a public good or a public purpose, but they're for-profit companies. They are not 501c3s just simply looking to do charitable work. It provides reporting requirements. It provides some liability protection from shareholders when it has to do with maximizing profits and things of that nature. It's been adopted in, I believe, 30 other states in one form or another. And so this is just essentially to get the ball rolling on possibly being able to organize in the state of Oklahoma as a benefit corporation. That's a for-profit company that serves the public good in some capacity.
The desire for House Bill 2397 is to allow people to get back into their line of work, to allow people to get back into their forms of employment, look for new jobs, and take on positions in their communities. And so that's the desire behind the bill. I am new to this area of legislation, so my fear in authoring any legislation is unintended consequences. And we've crafted the bill in such a way with input from law enforcement, input from other representatives, input from my constituents who initiated my initial interaction in this area in order to address those possible unintended consequences that may have come up. And so I'm happy with the product as it is now. We have maybe a few things that we want to work on before it gets to the House floor, and then obviously through the rest of the process, I'm looking forward to how this may help Oklahomans who have been through the system but are ready to move on. They've paid their debt to society. They're ready to get on and be contributing members to our cities, our communities, our towns, our churches, our families. So thank you to the committee for hearing this bill. I'm glad that it passed out and we were able to address some concerns and get all the interested parties involved.